This is our last session, session 5 of Rockets Away, and today we're going to be building the GNOME rocket. Again, for those of us here that have been on, my name is Sam Jens. I'm the extension educator here in Lyon County, Minnesota, and I do a lot of programming around STEM, a lot of water bottle rockets and other aerospace things. And I'll let Brian introduce ourselves and our mystery guest that came last week.
And again, my name is Brian McNeil, and tonight I am in the Millennium Falcon cockpit. If you didn't know that, I didn't bring my furry companion with tonight to be my co-pilot. I hope you don't have just virtual background, sorry. Again, I do a lot of things with STEM, with robotics, engineering, and design, if you're interested in any of those, as well as aerospace. And our mystery
she's logging in right now.
Is just joining us just in time. And that is Suzanne Souza. Suzanne, if your audio is up, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Brain fever is getting to me. Sorry about that. So I'm Suzanne Souza, and I'm the extension educator in Big Stone County. And I'm excited to see what you guys make tonight.
So did you guys hear about the recent SpaceX flight? I'm wondering, am I on the right slideshow, Brian?
Yeah, I think we covered that one last time. You can just flip through that.
Okay.
We talked about that last time. All right. Again, tonight, you're going to need the last piece of your kit. So have your rocket stuff ready, as well as maybe some scissors, glue, tape, a knife or a razor blade, maybe a ruler. And if you've got a parent with, I see a couple on, so thank you for being with, to help with kind of the sharp edges stuff, that would be just perfect. So thank you, parents, for being with us tonight. Now, before we get started, I'm going to talk a little bit about the GNOME rocket. And then, Sam, maybe you could just unshare, and then I'll go right into the presentation here shortly. And then we'll start building the GNOME rocket. Now, there's two different kinds of recovery systems. Tonight, we're going to be learning about the streamer, and that's what's in the kit that you have with the GNOME rocket. That long orange piece, that's a streamer. Other rockets, like the rocket that I have with me tonight, which is a little bit bigger, and I'll kind of show you it's a little bit bigger rocket, actually has what called as a parachute. So this one is big enough that it has to have a parachute for it to fall and slow the recovery down. These rockets, being they're a little bit smaller, they don't need the parachute. They just need the streamer. And what the streamer is there for is to help it slow down as it comes back to Earth. Okay, so that streamer, plus it's a visual. You'll be able to see that orange piece of streamer flying in the air, and then that's going to also help reduce the speed, and it won't come down and break and that type of thing. So that's the difference between the two rockets, is the streamer and the parachute. And I wanted to show you that before we get started. All right, does everybody have their supplies by them and are ready to get started? Thumbs up from Tristan, Leland. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. All right, so give me a second here. I'm going to flip my camera, so hold on here with me as I do this. We're going to actually work with NASA here and work with, it's not, I just called my phone NASA, but just thought that'd be fun for you all to see a little 4-H NASA action. All right, so you should have your instructions, and it's always a good thing to go and look at your instructions first. And many of the instructions have the part list. So before we get started, just make sure you have all these parts, that you have this blue plastic fin base like this. Double check that you have that you have a blue nose cone, looks like this. Then there's going to be a little blue ring that has a little circle on it, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Make sure you have that. That's the 3 blue pieces. Then there should be this little white piece. Make sure you have that close by. We're going to do that here pretty soon. And then it's a little piece of metal. It's called a launch lug. And it's got kind of a crooked end on one side, and it's got a little hook on the other side. That's the launch lug. Then you should have a stringy piece of shock. This is called a shock cord. Okay, we're getting close here. I saw Nathaniel had his orange streamer, so make sure you've got that close by you. And then you should have this long silver. This is already painted for us. Tube, that's the body tube. And then we've got this fun sticker at the end. You can put the GNOME on and name your rocket. Okay, so that should be all the pieces we have in this rocket kit. And they should connect to the pieces that you've got in your instruction sheet. Now, before we get started, make sure you've got your glue. I've got Elmer's glue, which will work just fine. So if you've got some type of Elmer's glue or that type of thing, we're going to be using that shortly. Make sure you have a ruler by you. I've got a ruler here handy, a little pencil. And again, if you got your parents there, either a razor blade, I've got a model knife here, or a knife or a scissor, because we have to make a couple little slits in your body tube. All right. We're going to kind of follow these instructions here. We're going to work with your nose cone first. And if I go too fast, throw it in the chat, and Sam kind of help me if I miss anybody. So we're going to take
just a reminder too, that we are recording this and we will send out the recording. It'll probably be towards the end of the week this week. But if we're going too fast, don't fret. You will get that recording where you can go back and pause step by step if you really need to.
Thank you, Sam. All right. So you've got your nose cone, and then you should have your little white piece. Okay, we're going to take some glue, and you're going to put glue around there's a little ridge around your white piece. You're going to put glue around that ridge, and once you get some glue there, you're going to insert that into your nose cone. So it's going to look like this at the end. So put some glue around this, and then insert that into your blue nose cone. And my glue is stuck. Hopefully yours isn't. Hopefully yours is brand new. Mine's a little old. There we go. Gonna put some glue around that. And then you're gonna put that inside your nose cone. Now you probably get some little excess glue there. You can take your finger, wipe that off. Wipe that little bit of glue off there, wipe it off on a towel, or your brother or sister by you, or your parent. I'm just kidding. Don't do that, but you can wipe that off. So that's nice and clean, because we want that clean so that goes inside of your body tube. Okay.
What happens if it doesn't get cleaned off, Brian?
Then you like form a ridge, and it won't go inside of your rocket. So we want to make sure that that's cleaned off. Otherwise, it won't go inside your rocket, your body tube. Once you get that done, you can set that aside. We're going to let that glue sit a little bit. Okay. And then, if you're following along with your instructions, we're going to go to page 2. This is where it gets a little tricky. So just listen and follow along. We're going to use a ruler. And if you haven't used a ruler before, we're going to use 2 different measurements on the ruler. And I'm going to hold this up here. So I'm going to show you what we're going to look for. Okay, so on the ruler, you have an inch. The little number 1, that's an inch. Okay. And then the next, we're going to skip this line and go to this. That's a half. So we're going to use the inch and a half marking. Okay. So that long middle one between the 1 and the 2, that's a ½ inch. We're going to be using that. All right. The other measurement we're going to use is a 3/8. And so if you go down here, here's your inch. Here's your ½ inch. This is a quarter. We're going to use the line right between the ½ inch and a quarter right there. That's the 3/8 inch marking. Okay. So those 2 markings, the 3/8 and the inch and a half, we're going to use and make some marks on your body tube. Is that clear? Oops, someone's still in the waiting room, Sam. Did you see that in the message?
Yep, I got him in.
Okay. All right. So we are going to measure now on your body tube. And we're going to do this on both ends. We're going to mark 1.5 inches on both ends. So if you take your ruler right to the bottom of the body tube, we're going to go up to 1 inch. And then again, that line between the 1 and the 2, you're going to make a little mark, a little line. So with your pencil or pen, make a little line or a mark on your body tube at 1.5 inches. All right. How are we doing? Everybody with me yet? Okay, hearing nothing, we're going to move on. So we got one side marked with 1.5 inches. Then we're going to take your body tube, turn it around. And this one, we're going to make 2 markings. So you're going to find that 1.5 inches again. Oop, if I can hold this right. Find the number 1, the number 2, that long line in between them, that's the 1.5 inches. You're going to mark there again. Okay. And then on this side, we're going to keep our ruler right here. And remember that 3/8 inch? Whoop, I bumped my camera. Here's the 1/2 inch. Here's the 1/4 inch. The 3/8 is right between the 1/2 and the 1/4. You're going to make another mark at the 3/8 inch. And this will all be clear in a little bit. So just make those marks there. I'm going to stop and just check in. Does everybody have 3 marks on their body tube? We should have 1 up on one end at 1.5 inches. Then at the other end, we should have a 3/8 and 1.5 inches again. Thank you, Tristan. Did everybody get those measurements? Okay, we're going to go on to the next step. Now, you're going to take your razor blade or a scissor or a knife and make sure this is where we need your parent. So if you got your parent handy, bring them over to the table with you. And you're going to take your sharp edge, either your razor blade or your scissor, and up at the top where we put 1.5 inches, you're going to take either your razor or your scissor, and you're going to cut it through the tube. You're going to make a little slit just like this. Okay. And then if we go down to the bottom, where we made the 1.5 inches down here, you're going to take your razor, your scissor, your knife, and your parent, and you're going to make another cut in the tube again. So we should have a notch up in the top and a notch at the bottom at those 1.5 inch markings.
How big of a notch should that be, Brian?
Okay, so you can take, as long as you take your razor blade or your knife or your scissor and make an indentation just enough to kind of stick it inside. Okay, so it should go all the way through inside the body tube on both ends, both those 1.5 inch markings. So far, so good. Anything in the chats?
Berlin says which side?
Yep.
So I'm assuming I missed that a couple minutes ago, and so you explained both sides.
So yep, you marked each side of the body tube at 1.5 inches. Both of those, you're going to put that little insert with your knife or scissor on both those 1.5 inch pieces, markings. All right, now find the notch that you just cut, and then you've got the little 3/8 inch. Okay, so we're going to work, this is the bottom of your rocket. This is going to be the bottom of it. And so we're looking for the notch and then that 3/8 mark that you've made. You're going to take this iron bar or the launch lug, what it's called. This is going to hold your engine in. And where you put that little notch, the straight edge of that metal bar, you're going to stick that in that notch of your body tube. So it looks like this, with that curved piece coming down at the bottom. You're going to have it looking like this. And like I said, this is what's going to hold your engine in. We're going to put the engines at the bottom, and this is kind of a clip that's going to hold your engine in. So you should have it looking like this right now. And then you're going to take your fin base like this. And at the top of your rocket body tube, you're going to put it on top and you're going to work it all the way down and hold it right there. And let me know when everybody's to this point. So there's a notch in the base of the blue fins that's going to go above your launch lug. All right. So far, so good. Now, before you do this, remember that little mark, that 3/8 inch that we made down here? That's as far as your fins are going to go to. Don't do this. I'm going to just show you with mine first. But you're going to push that all the way to that 3-inch marking. So your fins are going to be like this. It's going to look like this at the end. Don't do it quite yet because we have another step in. But that launch lug bar is going to go right over this notch in your fins. Okay, so I'm going to push this back up. Now, what we're going to do is put some glue around here, and then we're going to push your fins down. And again, when you get to the bottom of that 3/8 inch marking, that's where your base of your fin should be. Okay, so you can put some glue like right in the middle of that iron bar, kind of all like just a little bead around your body tube. And this glue is going to keep this in place so it doesn't fall off. So that's what the glue is there for. So once you get a little glue around there, then you're going to push your fins down. Again, over that metal bar, right to that 3/8 inch marking. Okay. And if you've got some glue showing, kind of wipe it off again with your finger. If you've got a towel or if you've got a parent there, have them help you kind of clean up that glue. It will dry clear, but it's kind of nice to clean it up so you don't have these little bubble ripples of glue at the bottom of your base of your fin. So it should look like this at this point. We've got there'll be a little bit of your tube showing, but that's how it should be. So your fin should be even with the bottom of your tube, right at that 3/8 inch mark. That's right there. Put some thumbs up, either with your finger or thumbs or virtual thumbs up. So I know if everybody's doing okay so far. Thank you, Tristan. Let's see some others. Nathaniel, great.
My thing does not stand up.
Nope, it's not going to stand up. And why is that?
The little notch bar thingy, whatever it's
Yep.
called, the rod.
But it will when it's on the launch pad. So we'll talk about that. But this is what it's supposed to look like. And because this is what's happening, so these fins are putting pressure over this bar, so it's going to hold your engine in there. If this wasn't on here, this would flop up and your engine would fall out and your rocket would go separate. So this is keeping your engine inside of your tube. And yep, it's not going to stand up right, but it will on the launch pad, and we'll talk about that. Okay. But it's not stand up right because this launch lug is coming down below. That's going to hold your engine inside here. And we will have engines for you at the flight day. So Don't worry about getting your own. We will have the engines for that day. Okay. Now we're going to work back at the top of our rocket, up at this other little notch that we made. Now this might be tricky, so having parents with you again might be a good idea. I don't have mine here tonight, so I'm going to try to do this without my parents. So if you take your shock cord, one end of your shock cord, and you're going to put it on top of that little notch. This is where it gets tricky. And you can take your knife or your razor or something and push that in that notch. You have to push it in the tube. Again, if you have a parent handy there, but you're going to kind of feed that into the inside of your tube. Now, and then you can kind of push it in there a little bit. This takes a little patience, so just keep working on it. We're not in a hurry. We're here till 10 o'clock tonight. So just take your time. I'm just kidding. We're not here till 10, but you're all doing well. All right. So if you got some put in there, you can probably look in your tube, and maybe if you got that pencil, you might be able to stick that in there, and we have to pull that other side out of your tube. Like I said, this gets a little tricky, so having a parent there helping you pull that. If maybe you've got little fingers, you might be able to get your finger in there, and you're going to pull that through. I got to push some more through here, it looks like. Again, just take your time. We're not in a hurry here. But you do need to get enough of that cord inside your tube so you can pull it out the top. And when you've got it pulled out to the top, you can either show me on the camera that you're good with that. Oh, there, mine's out now. See, I can pull it out. And then if you get it, pull it about halfway, just enough to have it out for right now, okay? So if you get it, it's going to pull it out like this. You might have to find something to stick in there and pull it out. A pencil. Your finger, if it's small enough to get in there, but you're going to pull it out so it's kind of looking like this. The cord's going through your body, and it's coming out the middle of your body tube. Okay. Any questions so far? You're still working on it? Give me some thumbs up, either in person or virtual, so I know where you're at. Thank you, Sam. Tristan's good to go. If you aren't, just take your time. We're in no hurry. I just want to check in with you.
Kind of looking like everybody's ready to go.
Oh, that's a good group. Okay, so what's going to happen next? That little blue ring that you have, okay? It's a ring with another little circle. You're going to take it and you're going to put it through the shock cord, and it's going to go over your body tube. And just put it like this for right now. Just get that far so I know you're all kind of in that same spot. And you probably can pull out your string so you have about this much. Maybe we can pull a little bit more. But you should have it like this right at this point.
Do we need to line that extra hole up with the bottom, Brian?
Oh, be patient. I'm getting there. Okay, so once you get it to this step, Stam is a step ahead of me. So at the base of your fins, there's a hole down there. There's a loop. We're going to line the loop up at the top with your loop at the bottom. And what this is for is there's going to be a metal rod that's going to go through both of those loops for your launch pad. And that's going to keep it on the launch rod. Okay, so make sure that they're even. And you can take and actually look down your holes, look down your rocket, and make sure they're even. You might want to, just do like Sam does. Put it up in the air, use your eye, and make sure that those eyelets are lined up. Okay, So your eyelet here should be lined up with your base of your fins down here. Yep, you can do like Sam did. You can hold it up in the air and look through them just to make sure they're straight. All right, you're doing well tonight. Way to go. Now, you see how I have this little extra cord here? I'm going to pull my shock cord out just a little bit more, and I'm going to have this much. Now watch here, and then you guys can do the same thing. So I'm going to hold this extra strip right here. Again, I'm going to take some glue, and I'm going to put glue just a little bit lower from your hole. And you're going to go around your body tube. Man, this glue is bad stuff. This is going in the garbage tonight. There we go. All right, so we're going to put some glue around the body tube again. And then you're going to slide this round piece over the cord and into your glue. And you're going to come down just below your cord, just like this. Just leave a little bit. And so you might have a little bit left over like this, and that's okay. Again, wipe off your glue. If you've got some excess glue around there, you can wipe it off with your finger. You've got a Kleenex paper towel, but you're going to look like this. You're going to have a little bit. This is where that hole was that we put in the rocket. This is your cord. This is over the cord, and I've got some excess sticking out here. And again, just wipe your glue clean. And double check to make sure your holes are lined up. So again, kind of hold it up in the air, look down your rocket, make sure that those holes are lined up. Just in case when you put it down over that, you didn't get it out of line. All right, now, if you want to, you don't have to, but this little extra piece of shock cord here, you can take a scissor. If you have one, or a parent can do this for you. If you've got the parent right there again, and you can clip that off just like that. So it's just a little bit left there, and that's just fine. So far, so good. All right, now we're going to let that dry. You're going to back up your shock cord. And you're going to find the middle. So to find your middle, if you take your end and put it at your rocket and fold your cord over like this, that's going to be about your middle. So find your middle and pinch it. Okay, so you're going to take your shock cord, find that middle, and you're going to pinch it like this. Now, you're going to take your orange streamer. You're going to unfold that. And find half of that. And then you're going to take that and just tie it onto the shock cord. So just using a single knot, you're going to just pull that through and tie that right onto your shock cord. So it's going to look like this. Glad I shut my camera off because I had my tongue sticking out when I was making that knot. And I didn't get my finger in there, so that was good. And I can't believe it. I'm doing it without my parents here. That's pretty good too. Okay. So does everybody have that step complete? We are getting close to being done here, people. You're doing great. Now be very careful with this next step because it might not be dried yet. We're going to take the end of your shock cord and this little hole here on this white piece of the nose cone, we're going to push the cord through that kind of square piece. Okay, so you're going to take it and just pull it through like that. You're going to pull it out, and then you're going to, again, tie like a half knot to tie that to the nose cone. And if you want, you could double knot it. Doesn't matter. Single knot, double knot. I'm going to double knot mine. I'm going to pull that. So now your nose cone should be attached to the other end of your shock cord. Okay, so you should have it looking like this. And if you want this little bit of extra again, you can cut that off. You don't need that much. I was kind of generous with mine. I can cut that off there. Just be careful not to pull that white piece out of your nose cone. Now, if you do, you can just re-glue it. So don't worry. If it does come out, just put some glue back on there. But don't put that inside the cone or your rocket, because that could dry in there and then it's going to stick. So let this sit overnight before you put that inside. Otherwise, that could stick. That glue could stick inside there. Okay. So now the last step we have to do is our GNOME sticker. So you can find a place, and you can put this on wherever you want to. You can put it on the side. You can wrap it around. You decide where you want to put that sticker on. So we'll take some time. You can do that. Just going to do it like that. So my GNOME should be complete. My nose cone's attached, my shock cord's attached. This is in line with the base. My launch lug is on, and my rocket should be complete. I'll let everybody catch up here. All right, so
Looks like-
give me.
I was gonna say, it looks like if you really want to, there's a really tiny Estes sticker along with the GNOME one too. You could put on.
If you got little bitty fingers to do that, my fingers are too big for that type of thing. Yeah, Sam, you're doing it. You got that on there. If you want to put that ST sticker on, you can do that. All right. So again, your rocket should be complete. Again, let them dry. Probably let them dry overnight before you put your nose cone on, just because that glue could dry inside your nose cone. But what you're going to do tomorrow morning or tomorrow after school, like I'll do with this, you'll take your parachute or your streamer, and you're going to kind of wrap it up, and you can wrap your shock cord around that, and you're going to stick it inside your rocket. Now, on the day of the launch, what we will do is we will take your streamers. I'm going to take my parachute out of this rocket, and we're going to stick something inside here first. Anybody guess what we're going to stick inside here?
The filter.
Well, it's kind of a filter. It's called wadding. And we're going to stick some wadding in there inside here first, and then we'll stick the parachute. Anybody wonder why we would put wadding in first? This wadding is coated.
In the rain.
So it doesn't burn. You're right. You're exactly right. So the wadding is coated with a chemical that goes in there, because what'll happen, the engine will blast off, and it's going to sparks and smoke's going to come out the bottom. The rocket will get about 800 feet in the air. It's going to turn, and what will happen is everything from this end of the rocket will blow forward. So there's a second stage in the engine that blows everything out from the back to the front. So it'll blow the nose cone off, and the parachute or the streamer will come out, and then it'll come down. So when it does that, sparks and smoke will come out. So that fireproof wadding will protect your recovery system, either the streamer or the parachute. I've got an example of not with me tonight, but a parachute that actually burnt, and it burnt the center of it, and it came down really fast and it broke because there wasn't enough wadding in there to protect the parachute. So we're gonna have to make sure that that's in there. That'll blow out and your rocket will come down. These again, we will see the orange streamers as it comes down. That'll become a visual to watch as it falls back down